In this video, we're going to cover a new category of operators, and it is the unary plus and minus operators. The key word over here is unary. So if you remember from above, we have unary, binary, and ternary operators. Unary operators take one argument, binary 2 and ternary 3. So this is the first operator that we'll come across that takes just a single argument. You might be wondering, how can an operator just take a single argument? And we'll see with some examples how that clears it up. Now, the unary operators rank over here in the table, so they're just below exponentiation. They use these same symbols as addition and subtraction, so that plus sign and the minus sign. The x over here just represents the argument. So let's go see how it works. Now, we've just used numbers casually before, like say this number 5, and this is a positive 5, and we can see its value just stays as 5. It's output like this. You can also create the positive value 5 using the plus unary operator like this. Executing this cell shows that the value is just the number 5, which is also positive 5. So you'll never use the unary plus operator like this. It's just an example to show you right now using these numbers. Let's go on to an example that where it does matter, and that's when we use the minus unary operator. Let's go ahead and create the number -5. So we haven't dealt with negative numbers yet, but to create a negative number, you just put this minus sign in front of 5. Technically, this is an operator, so it's acting on this number 5, and it's saying, hey, I'm going to make this -5. And when I see the value, it is, still obviously -5. Now, where it comes into play and can be confusing is in a situation like this when there are multiple arithmetic operators used. So I'm going to write -5. I'm going to raise it to the second power using the exponentiation operator. So, if you multiply -5 times -5, what will happen is you'll get positive 25. The negative signs will cancel out. But if you do this, Python will return -25. So you might be wondering, well, why is it -25 and not positive 25? Well, the answer lays in the operator precedence table. So if you see here, the exponentiation operator has higher precedence than the minus unary operator. So what Python does first is it takes 5, the positive number 5, it raises that to the second power, so it creates 25, and then it applies this minus unary operator to the result, making it -25. So to prove, this might be easier to see if we do something like this, 0 minus 5 squared. And this really isn't any different than this expression over here. I've just put a 0 in front, and I've written it as a minus operator instead of a unary minus sign. So this is going to show the exact same thing. So we have 0 over here. Most people can kind of figure this one out a little easier than this one over above. 5 squared happens first, so that becomes 25. So this becomes 0 minus 25, which is -25. So these are in essence the same thing. It's just a little confusing over here because your brain might think, okay, it's going to square -5, but really what Python does is it takes 5, squares it, and then applies that minus unary operator. Okay, so these are not heavily used, but I just wanted to cover them, or actually they're up here. They're not heavily used, but I did want to cover them to show some of these specific examples and to show examples of these unary operators, whereas all of the other operators we've used so far have been binary operators taking in 2 arguments.